Welcome students to another lesson. In this lesson we'll discuss law of exponents. So what does your exponent mean? Your exponent means the power or the indices. Suppose you have a number 8 and you are writing a number 2. Yeah. So this number 2 represents your exponent, which is power of 8. So 8 to the power 2, and this 2 is your exponent. Fine. So what does this exponent means? The exponent of a number says how many times to use the number in that multiplication. Fine. So suppose you have a number exponent 8 to the power 2. Then what does this mean? You have to multiply this 8 2 times, because how many exponents? Because what is the number of exponent? 2. So 8 to the power 2 equals to 8 times 8, which is 64. Fine. So similarly, you can take an example. Suppose you have written a to the power 7. That means you have to multiply this a how many times? 7 times. So a times a times a times a times a times a times a. You will get 7 times a. Fine. Similarly, you can take this example x to the power 6. That means you have to multiply x 6 times. So you will have x multiplied with x multiplied with x multiplied with x, x and so on. Fine. The next is the loss of exponents. Okay, so whenever you see an exponent, the first thing you should remember is writing all the letters down in the key to understand that law. So suppose you are given x to the power 2 and x to the power 3. So first what you do is write this x to the power 2 in terms of the letters. So x to the power 2 means multiply this x 2 times. So x and x. Similarly, x to the power 3 means you have to multiply x 3 times. So you have x times x times x. Fine. So in total you have multiplied x how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you write down separately x 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That means x to the power 5. Okay, so whenever you get confused, what you do, first you write down all the letters individually and then multiply them and then count the number of the powers. Fine. This is how you can write this exponent. And note, I will show you how this x square plus x to the power 3 equals to x to the power 5 in the forthcoming slides. Okay, but for now you can understand it like this. So here are some laws of exponents, and here is the related examples of the exponents. I will discuss each exponent individually. So let's start with this first three laws. Okay, x to the power 1 equals to x, x to the power 0 equals to 1, and x to the power minus 1 equals to 1 upon x. So look at this one. 5 to the power 0 is 1. Remember, anything to the power 0 is always 1. Fine. So now let us increase the exponent by 1. So you have 5 to the power 1. So 5 to the power 1 means you have to multiply 5 one time. Okay. Similarly, now increase the exponent by 2. That means you have to multiply 5 how many times? 2 times. So you have 5 times 5. Okay. This one just represents the number 5 to the power 0. Okay. And plus, if you multiply anything with 1, it does not brings any change. Okay. So this number represents the 5 to the power 0. Similarly here, this number represents 5 to the power 0. Then this number represents the 5 to the power 1. Fine. So in 5 to the power 2 case, again this part represents 5 to the power 0, this part represents 5 to the power 1, and this 5 represents 5 to the power 2. That means you have to multiply 5 two times when it is to the power of 2. So 1 times 5 equals to 25, and so on. So if you have 5 to the power 3, that means 1 times 5 into 5 into 5. Okay, so what do you notice? Every time a exponent or your power increases, that means the number becomes 5 times larger. Check, here you have 1, exponent increased by 1, it became 5. Again the exponent become increased by 1, so 5 increased to 25. That means 5 times 5, 25. Fine. Similarly, let us look at this negative power also. Whenever you have 5 to the power minus 1, in such case what you will do, if you see this minus 1, that means you have to divide by 5. So 5 to the power minus 1 equals to 1 divided by 5, and 1 divided by 5 equals to 0.2. Similarly, 5 to the power minus 2, that means you have to divide 1 by 5, again divided by 5. So you have to divide this 1 by 5 how many times? 2 times. So 1 divided by 5 equals to, so 1 divided by 5 means, so for this part it will be 1 divided by 5, then again you have to divide it by 5. So again divide this number 1 by 5. So 1 divided by 5 divided by 5, and what is 5 times 5? This number. What is 5 times 5? That is 5 square. And how much is 5 times square? 5 times square is 25. So 1 divided by 25 equals to 0.04. Fine. Similarly, if it was 5 to the power minus 3, that means you have to divide 1 by 5 one time, divide by 5 two times, and again divide by 5 three times, and so on. Fine. So whenever you see a negative exponents, like in this case, what happens? Every time you increase the negative exponent, in this case it was minus 1, in this case it was minus 2. So if the negative exponent increases, what happens? The number becomes 5 times smaller. Okay, so let us start from here. Suppose you have 25. If the exponent decreases by 1, the number decreases by how much? 5 times. Similarly, if the exponent decreases by 1, the number again decreases by how much? 5 times. Similarly, the exponent decreased by 1 minus 1, the number decreased by 5, the exponent decreased by 5, the number decreased by 5. Okay, the other way case is possible if the exponent increased by 1. If the number increased by 1, the number becomes 5 times larger. Again, if the exponent increased by 1, the number becomes 5 times larger. Again, the number increased by 1, power increased by 1, the number becomes 5 times larger. Okay, so this is the first three laws of your exponent: x to the power 1, x to the power 0, and x to the power minus 1. So for this example, you can take 6 to the power 1 will be how much? 6. Fine. Similarly, for this second case, what is 7 to the power 0? Anything to the power 0 is always 1. Next example, what is 4 to the power minus 1? That means you have to divide it by 4 how many times? 1 times. Fine. So it will be 1 by 4. Now let's discuss this one. So whenever you have any number which has the power m and the same number which has the power n, then how many times you end up multiplying this number? You will end up multiplying this number m plus n times. Okay, let's take an example. Suppose you have a number x which is multiplied how many times? It is to the power 2. That means it is multiplied 2 times. Similarly, you have the same number x which has the power 3. That means this number is multiplied 3 times. So in total, how many times you are multiplying this number? Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5 times x. So this is x to the power 5. Okay. So whenever you see such a number where the base of the number, this x, this number are same, whenever the base is same, in such case what you can do is you can simply add the power, you can simply add the exponent. So in this case, first you write down the same base x, then you add the powers 2 plus 3. Fine. So you will get x to the power 5. Fine. So you can take the example. Suppose you have x to the power 2 and x to the power 3. First you write down the common base. The base number is how much? X. Then you write down the power 2 and the power 3. So 2 plus 3 equals to how much? It is equals to 5. So what will be your result? It will be x to the power 5. Fine. Okay. So that's it for today's class. Thank you. And the rest of this laws of exponents we will discuss in our next class. Fine. So again, thank you.